Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Caden Citro, also known as Onion_JPEG, and tonight I am joined by.
I'm Darcy Hayes, also known as Unoni, and we are now in week 3 of the ESC conference. We are currently 2-0, looking to make it 3-0 tonight against Kent State. How do you feel about going in tonight?
Going into tonight, I am feeling very confident. About the same as last week. Even though last week I was a little bit more shaky, because Northeastern traditionally has been one of our strongest opponents throughout the year. Uh, Tonight, Kent State, a strong opponent, but no flame,
No flame.
not quite the level of like Northeastern or Ball State. Those are the big opponents for the semester. Beat one of them in our normal season already last week with Northeastern 2-0, and I think going into tonight, focusing on tonight's match, I think it will be a fairly good. I won't say easy.
Yeah,
None of these are like easy matches really, but it will be uh, a fine match.
a fine match. That's a good way of putting it. I know in terms of our roster, we're looking at near the same lineup as last week, except we have swapped Winter for Baby Backside on our DPS, but everyone else, Bonesaw, Pooter, Shocker, and Fozik should be the same lineup.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see if we play the same quote unquote cringe comp as we did last week.
I wonder if we're gonna bring that out or if that's reserved for special opponents like Northeastern.
Yeah, I think we will. We'll see fairly soon. Um, Obviously, Pooter Scooter is the not Pooter Scooter, Baby Backside is the DPS that we had practiced that comp with. We kind of just slotted Winter in last minute last week. Um, so I'm expecting to see the May to be a little bit more impactful,
Yeah,
have better walls. Not that Winter had bad walls, but just more impactful
a
walls.
little more precise with it. I'd say a
Yes.
little more in tune with what the rest of the team is trying to accomplish at that moment. 'Cause I do know Winter didn't really get a chance to practice them like you mentioned, so some moments were a little bit shaky. Some could have been more polished, I guess I'd say.
Right. And this first map for tonight is going to be Busan, something that I believe in the past we've had a fairly just fine
Hmm.
performance on. It's not a crazy hard map for us. It's not one that we typically win or lose. There's not really a trend. It's just
No, I think
a
that
map.
map will work well into our cringe comp. I think. I know there's a lot of great positions in that map where May's as well impactful with how you direct the enemy team, how you force them into a worser position to face off with you again. So I have good feelings about going into this map.
Yeah, as we get into game here on Busan, I don't remember what this level of the map is called.
Oh, I don't either. It's escaping me.
Space. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think on out of the three, I think this might be one of the uh, weaker ones. One of the weaker maps for the cringe compilation,
Well, let's see here because, like
cringe
I mentioned
composition.
earlier, there's a lot of great moments for
Baby
May to
backside,
sort
getting
ice wall.
the very quick kill by Mimi. Bonesaw just absolutely laying into
Ooh.
this Reinhardt, getting the shield very, very low, as well as the hero himself, Reinhardt, very low. Got that shield up right in time. He was about to just immediately die to the Sentry form Bastion.
I know Bonesaw is very fond of playing Bastion, and I think we're already seeing how impactful it's going to be against this composition. With a Reinhardt, Reaper, and Mei, you're really playing to kind of close that gap very quickly. You know, you want to play in close range.
A
With
very, very
Bastion,
quick kill onto this Lucio. Mei is about to die, but almost gets out with that. The usage of that Ice Wall does not quite get it. I believe charge into the wall onto Pooter Scooter, but he is just completely fine. Bonesaw does end up dying to the Flame Strike, but Shocker and Pooter both pick up return kills in the meantime.
as I was saying, I think Bastion can be very punishing when you're trying to approach, when you're trying to close that gap quickly. And while Mei's Ice Wall can kind of shut off that line of sight, with the Bastion we're seeing in Overwatch 2 as compared to his original form, he's a bit more mobile. He can kind of escape those walls that force him out of position. And Manga, of course, can do a lot of damage at a range. Also, again, kind of poking you out before you can get up close.
The Ice Wall coming out by both teams, our team, Miami, blocking the exit for KSU as Miami just kind of runs in at them. That is going to be a 3 kills for the side of KSU. Baby Backside does get a kill onto this Reaper with the usage of Blizzard. The Lucio and Mei both getting kills for KSU, and Miami has to take their leave and lose the objective.
You know, I think you have to give a lot of credit to that Moira right there. She was really sustaining her team through that fight. And unfortunately, we did lose Baby Backside's Mei ultimate in that it wasn't the impact we wanted.
Kitsune Rush is going to be used, as well as the enemy Blizzard going to do some damage before Miami. Pooter Scooter gets a double kill. Baby Backside does end up falling to the enemy Mei. But Miami's just doing fine here. Fozix and Peter both getting kills. Bonesaw as well, going to just quickly retake this point immediately after losing it.
You know, I think that was really smart by Miami. As soon as we had used Kitsune Rush, we saw Blizzard come out from Kent. And it kind of forced us to back off and not entirely utilize Kitsune Rush. But it's much better to lose that ultimate, to not be able to optimize it, and still keep most of your team up, rather than trying to force that positioning and getting stuck in that wizard.
Yeah, there is a cage fight up, and so is the artillery strike going to be letting loose onto the side of KSU. Bonesaw does end up actually falling, though. Pooter Scooter just laying into the side of KSU with that cage fight going on. Sound barrier used by both teams.
Oh!
Pooter in an awful charge off the ledge, and Miami's going to end up dying without their tank there. Shocker does fall, and Pooter, Baby Backside going to be delaying the retake for as long as he can, 99%.
Absolutely tragic. Like you said, 99%. Miami's in a good position. We need one strong fight to come back, claim it, and just get that final tick. See, we're holding back a little bit. We're trying to get the whole team gathered. That is the woes of having one teammate hold on at that point for as long as possible. We do see a delayed respawn.
The hammer going to be used by KSU, but Miami going to actually be looking like they're winning this fight. The coalescence used by the Moira, though, going to keep everyone alive and going to do a lot of damage and actually turn that fight fairly easily, it looks like, for KSU. That was a really good look. And then there was a moment where we were winning that fight, and then
just let slip. We do see this Mei. She's trying to be a little sneaky. We see she has Blizzard. I know, as predicted, she's waiting for us to push up just a little too far.
Our own Blizzard going to be used. Both Blizzards are going to be coming out, but Shocker and Bonesaw getting kills for Miami, and that means that Miami has the ability to really just take this back. Bonesaw getting another kill onto this Reaper. Shocker going to chase down that Moira, retake the point, and it looks like it'll probably just be...
Ooh, yeah. Pooter's not letting them get anywhere close to point. But that was really smart of Bonesaw in that last fight to focus down on that Reinhardt. Once that shield goes down, I mean, then you're just shooting fish in a barrel. There's so much damage that our team can put out that has been nullified by, you know, the ice wall, by the shield, that we can finally fully release it onto Kent State and clearly take the point with that.
Yeah, and as we move on to, I believe this is called Night Market.
I think you're right.
I think it's Night Market. Teams... Oh, downtown. Sorry.
Well,
Night Market is a different map, I think.
That's the next map. If we do go to a round 3, Looking at the lineups, I don't see a big change. We're sticking with the manga, Bastion, May, Lucio, Kiriko, and on the side of Kent State, they kept the same one, the Reinhardt, the Reaper, the May. Really trying to close that distance, especially with the Lucio aiding them and kind of speeding them along.
The Moira is really interesting because you don't really see Moira played very
No,
much.
you don't.
As a fight breaks out, the Mei wall going to be blocking off the enemy Reinhardt, and he's just going to die. And Miami is going to roll over the side of KSU since they don't have a tank holding that
Ooh.
together. Reaper going to get away, very slippery using the Wraith form and then Shadow Step into safety. Going to be
His
taken very,
backside
very low though.
nearly got him at the end. But that was a very good push by Miami. We got in there while they did close the distance. We played smart. We didn't clump up together. We saw Baby Backside moving around, trying to get those picks, trying to affect the back line. As they're pushing off to the side, we're recognizing that and we're adapting as necessary.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Miami doing very good holding this point and just kind of playing very patiently, watching KSU matching their rotations and really I think just doing
Ooh.
more with their composition. Bonesaw going to get one, Baby Backside going to get the enemy May, and in a 3v5 situation, KSU just cannot afford to push any farther. Bonesaw going to get another kill onto this Moira, and then just kind of fall back onto the point, not overextending.
I'm not surprised they did not continue that push over off to the left. I would have been really, really surprised if they kept that going. Not only with the Maywall shutting them down, but when you have Alicio as talented as Kha'Zix, you are playing a very dangerous game, walking next to a ledge in a line when he has the ability to just boop all of you off at once.
Yeah, for sure. 99% on this Blizzard going to be used probably on cooldown here.
Ooh!
Uh,
Good call.
Coalescence used as well. Just kind of separating the team of KSU from each other, but Miami gets split up themselves by this Coalescence, and it looks like KSU just retakes the point.
It's super unfortunate with that kind of chaos they caused. Like you mentioned, that Blizzard really split the team. It forced KSU into what we would hope was a worser position, kind of get closer with us. It looked like it was our downfall. We got a little too scared at that moment and we weren't able to band together and really hold out.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate that we did lose it. We are looking fairly fine. The cage match going to be used, cage fight going to be used by Miami, going to be getting 2 kills with the artillery strike. Mola getting 2 more kills, just natty,
There was
as well
so
as Pooter Scooter.
much that happened right there. I think we just had a small frame rate drop.
Yeah, there were a lot of things happening.
A lot of things happening, but in favor of us. So I think it all works out in the end. That cage fight that we're so fond of doing, especially pairing it with the Bastion ultimate artillery strike.
A
That's
big fan of
just
circles.
oh.
So many ultimates being used by both teams. Miami is getting 3 kills though, going to just absolutely put a stop to KSU's push in overtime, and it looks like that is going to be the first map for Miami.
A super strong holding there. I mean, it's devastating when you use Earth Shatter as Reinhardt, and before your hammer even fully hits the ground, you're dead. I mean,
Yeah.
that shows a lot of coordination, I think, on Miami's part as well.
There were a lot of moments here as Peter Scooter gets the play of the game. There were a lot of moments where we were like a Reinhardt charge was used, and before Reinhardt could pin someone, he was dead.
Yeah.
Same thing, like in this play of the game, it happened right at the beginning there, where he tried to make a play and just
Uh-huh.
immediately died before he could do anything with it.
No, our team was dealing out so much damage. Like I keep mentioning, I think we have a really great priority system and we're very well coordinated. We're recognizing, okay, the first thing that has to go down has to be Reinhardt and his shield. And then we have to address main or ice wall. That's what's stopping people like Bonesaw from just unleashing that Bastion clip into the team.
Right. And it is kind of unfortunate that we are losing these random fights, it kind of
Yeah.
seems, where we're matching ultimates, but we aren't quite getting the leverage that we need from them.
Hmm.
Where we like lose a point for like 30% and it feels kind of bad, but then we come back with 3 ultimates and it's fine. But I'm kind of surprised we're losing those fights in the first place.
I think Kent State is more slippery than we're giving them credit for. A lot of our ultimates, or I guess really Blizzard, what I'm thinking of, isn't necessarily meant to deal damage. It's really meant to reposition to force Kent State into, a worser position than they were, to force them off to the side that we want them to. And they're just kind of not going the way we want
Mhm.
them to. We're putting the Blizzard down, hoping we can split the team, hoping we can force them forward, and then we're kind of losing ourselves in that chaos.
I will also add on to that, along with being slippery, Moira, we're not really putting, I think, the respect that we need to be putting on her in
Ah!
these fights. Coalescence absolutely turned the tide of two of those fights on the
Mhm,
first round, and I believe one of the fights on that second round. Uh, just with the amount of damage that it can
mhm.
output, as well as the amount of healing that it does towards the entire team, I think we aren't respecting it to the respect
Yeah.
that we
And
should
I
be
think
giving it.
Moira has a longer range and deals more damage than people expect as well. I mean, when you have heroes that are really good at a close range, like May and Reaper, having that Moira who can kind of help tap things out from a distance and while you're trying to close that gap, still get a little bit of damage out, can still really impact a team fight?
Mhm. Yeah, it is interesting how Kent State is trying to adapt.
Hmm.
Um, I'm curious to see if we see a lineup change, not in the players, but in the heroes that they're
Hmm.
picking for Kent State in this second map. Just because I feel like maybe some of these heroes aren't
I'm not
the
feeling the Reinhardt. I
best.
think there are a lot of tanks who would do better into a manga. I mean, I think we're pretty set on him right now because, I feel like heroes like Sigma or Orisa that are better at a longer range, who are better at sustaining themselves,
Mhm.
at absorbing damage that isn't necessarily based on a shield, they're a little bit better into manga.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I am kind of surprised that Reinhardt is being played, period. So, especially Reinhardt into a manga who
Absolutely.
kind
He
of shreds the
he shreds
shields.
the shields and then he pokes them out before he's able to get to the team. And that's why we're having these earth shatters where the hammer hits the ground, but now there's no Reinhardt to
Right,
follow up on that.
right. But we will be right back. We're going to take a quick break before map number 2, and we'll see you then. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to map number 2 of Miami University versus Kent State in Overwatch ESC. We're going to be taking a little bit of a jaunt over to London for King's Row.
What an intro to
What an
that.
intro.
I know Kings Row historically is one of our favorite maps. We have done so well in that in the past. And I think it's a very classic case of we're okay on defense, we're pretty good on defense, but I think our attack on Kings Row is just it's so dominating, it's so overpowering.
As we get into game here, I do want to comment though. In the past, we've had like Winter on a sniper,
Mhm.
right? Where with this cringe comp, we can't really fit a Widowmaker or an Ashe or a Hanzo in because you have Bonesaw, you have May, uh, you have the Bastion in the May
Mhm.
that are just so pivotal to this comp, to where you can't really play a Widowmaker, even if you wanted to. Looks like we're
Well,
gonna. playoff? No, we're not
Far,
gonna play
no.
Farah. No. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised that for both teams, when you're starting on attack, I feel like it's very common to, bring out a Widowmaker for the first 10 seconds, trying to get a pick. But of course, if you're playing against teams that are playing at this level, you kind of expect that. You kind of know not to be poking your little head out. It looks like we're intruding on a team meeting right now between Pooter, Bonesaw, and Baby Backside.
They were having a very important
They could
conversation there.
interrupt.
As we get into it, it does not look like KSU is going to be taking the route of that sniper, and they are just going to opt into the same composition, but they are going to go around this side area, trying to get the immediate high ground, and we'll see how it goes. I think Miami's just in a better spot, even if they don't have the high ground here.
I mean, I think they're just gonna let KSU push into us. But I'm not loving this Reinhardt pick. I guess it helped them get over to that stairwell safely. It just really is not doing them any favors against this Manga and against
Bonesaw doing a lot of damage now that the Reinhardt shield is down. Reinhardt is going to fall very, very soon after. Reaper is also going to fall to the Bonesaw. Baby Backside is going to actually die to the enemy May, but not before Bonesaw gets the return kill back onto Kosi.
We had to sacrifice Baby Backside for that. But like I said, we are just shredding this Reinhardt shield and this May ice wall. I mean, it's so strong. And you see Bonesaw's taking position over there all the way up to the right on the high ground. And now it just is freely firing into the team.
We are down a support or a DPS here as Baby Backside comes back from spawn. He does get here now before the fight properly starts. Going to wall off this May. Blizzard is going to be used, but not really going to get anyone. Miami pushing back on. Kitsune Rush used as it comes up. Pooter Scooter and Bonesaw both getting kills. Pooter getting 2 and just ignoring this Reaper in his backline. May just barely makes it back to her spawn and to safety. Really good fight for Miami.
I can appreciate that they might bring the Reaper out as a way of dealing with Manga. I mean, Reaper is the classic tank shredder. But I don't know if that is applicable against a tank like Manga, because you simply can't deal enough damage at a close range to really take him down. I mean, Pooter Scooter is showing how viable and how self-sustaining Manga can be.
And we see KSU doing the same thing, trying to go around in this area. Cage fight and artillery strike both going to be used. It's even better in this small corridor because there's less room for KSU to move. Artillery strike going to take out the Moira, and the Reinhardt falls immediately after, and so does the 2 DPS. I don't really know where the Lucio or the Moira were there, though.
I really don't want to be flaming enemy teams. I always try and keep it respectful, but it's kind of like, what are you thinking in that moment? I mean, you have cage fight, which can affect teams in a small
Blizzard
range.
going to be used immediately on this Reinhardt. He is alone and just going to immediately die, and without a Reinhardt, without a main tank, KSU just have to walk back into their spawn and wait the 10 seconds for the respawn.
Again, going back to kind of like getting things through, you can't walk to a small corridor when you know the enemy Manga has his ult up. And when you know you have a May, you can't poke yourself forward and poke out from a choke point like that unless you have sights on May.
Coalescence is going to be used. All ultimates are for the side of KSU. Death Blossom is also going to be used. So is the Earth Shatter. So is the Blizzard. Just the sound barrier still up for KSU. Everyone but the Manga and the Lucio do end up dying, though. Manga has 50% left on his ultimate, and they are just going to take a retreat. 30 seconds left on the clock, but 4 ultimates.
4 ultimates, 30 seconds left. I mean, with only 3 minutes to go to get to the next point. Miami isn't feeling too shaken up by that. We would have loved to see a play, but it isn't viable for the Manga and Lucio to take on a whole team. Manga has a lot of self-sustain, and Lucio can heal a lot, but it just isn't smart. It's a lot smarter to back up and wait for your team rather than allow yourselves to get picked off one by one and get trickled in slowly.
Exactly, Miami going to be contesting right here at this choke point. The Reinhardt is going to get walled off, but not quite close enough to where he gets stuck, and he's just going to wait to get healed up. Both teams playing around these corners, trying to do their best. The Reinhardt going to get walled off from himself. Kitsune Rush is going to be used. Pooter Scooter going to go crazy mode here, getting 1. Bonesaw and Shocker both getting killed as well. Bonesaw getting another kill, and that is the push dead for KSU. 2 minutes left on the clock.
Oh my god, what a brutal shutdown. And that shows the upper hand you get on defense is that you have time to wait things out like that. When you're both sitting on opposite ends of the choke point, one of you has to make a move, and it's on attack to keep it going to stop their clock from running out. But Miami saw it coming immediately. I mean, that Reinhardt didn't even get to charge fully before he was shut down by Baby Backside's
Well,
ice wall.
that was actually
Oh!
KSU's ice wall.
That's
Baby
even
Backside
worse.
going to get the kill onto this Reinhardt. Yeah, KSU's May just kind of walled off their own Reinhardt, blocked his own charge.
I apologize. In the chaos,
interesting.
I mixed up teams. That's on me.
It's just a little bit of a discordance with KSU not really sure when they're pushing in, I guess. Reinhardt going to get walled off and be forced into the side room.
Ooh.
The artillery strike is going to be used. So is a cage fight for the side of Miami. Blizzard is also going to be used. Everyone is in this hallway. Everyone is frozen. Miami getting 2, getting 3, getting 4, getting 5.
Miami, I don't think I'm a big fan of their Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Because when at the start of that fight, they had shoved him in that corner. I think they were just bullying him at that point. You had all these ultimates coming out. You had all the damage being dealt to him as he was just kind of pinned in this tiny little corridor. You almost feel bad.
It feels really awful, I think, for KSU because you keep getting put into these small, confined spaces, which as a Reinhardt, you kind of want with your ultimate, but you don't really want it for fighting.
You typically want it, but not against a Manga.
And not against Manga, at least. That is going to be Kitsune Rush used by Miami just to delay KSU a little bit. You can't really walk into a Kitsune Rush Manga. Just ignoring the Manga behind them, Reinhardt going to be taking half health at least. Almost every ult up for KSU and just sound barrier for Miami. 5 seconds on, KSU have to push this. And they're not even halfway.
I mean, there's a benefit to holding your ultimates, using them all at once, but you have to use them when the
Blizzard
clock
is going to
be
is going to freeze Pooter Scooter. Bonesaw does get the return kill onto the enemy Reinhardt. May does end up killing Bonesaw, and I guess Miami has to fall back, even though
You have to fall
KSU's
back because you know what? It's better to let them get a little more distance after point 1 rather than get all the way to point 2.
Right.
But if you keep trickling in, you get picked off one by one.
And you
you're
have
going
the
to be set back.
Or you have the speed boost to kind of ferry your team back. The cart is going to make it fairly far, actually. No ultimates up for the side of Miami, but Coalescence is going to be used by KSU. A little bit of a weird bug where you can't see Coalescence if you're spectating the Moira.
That's okay.
Bonesaw does end up getting the kill onto the enemy Reinhardt. Coalescence is
42 meters
over.
away.
The artillery strike is going to be used, going to wait out the artillery or the cage fight, going to get 2 inside the cage fight. Baby Backside and Shocker getting 2 kills as well, and that is going to be a round 1 for Miami.
Super clean round 1. That was really brilliant. Being less than 0.5 meters away and still stopping them from getting that second point is huge. So not only do they get more time on the clock, they get more opportunity to get more distance on you. And Miami played that very smartly. They recognized they had lost a fight, and rather than trying to force it off, trying to force them to back off in that overtime, they regrouped, they reset, they brought it back a little bit, and they're able to hold. I think that shows a lot of coordination as well between Bonesaw and Pooter Scooter. Bonesaw had used artillery strike before Pooter Scooter even had cage fight ready.
Hoof and haunch.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was a very well thought out play, using the artillery strike early, making KSU kind of spread out and kind of panic. And then once they panicked, that's when cage fight came up, and you were able to get at least 2 inside of the cage fight and make sure they died to the artillery strike.
Ooh, we see that KSU has swapped over to a Manga. It seems they had finally given up on trying to get that Reinhardt to work. And again, as I predicted at the beginning of last round, we have picked up a Widowmaker on Baby Backside. I don't imagine he's going to keep with it for too long, only because our composition so far with the May has been working so well. But I'm guessing the Widowmaker and Fox on Mercy is going to be temporary. First 10 seconds.
For sure.
Try and get a pick.
A damage boost headshot.
Yep.
Go crazy.
If we can get a pick, that's great. Gives us an advantage. If not, let's not force anything.
Doesn't look like KSU is going to let Miami do that, though, as they immediately swap back to the original composition. Fozix playing really far ahead, just being a nuisance, a fly in the and distracting KSU from the ongoing push as Miami just kind of pushes in. Bonesaw in a really awesome high ground spot, going to be laying into this Manga. Pooter Scooter going to get the kill onto the Reaper. Bonesaw getting a kill onto the
What a
I
clean
can't remember
take.
her
I don't
name.
even know
Yeah,
what to say about it.
I was
I mean,
stunned.
that
Pooter
was
Scooter getting the kill on the May as well.
brilliant instant positioning, especially seeing that from Bonesaw. I mean, because they're poking them out, was kind of harassing them a little bit from behind. Then all of a sudden, you have Bonesaw flying through the air as Bastion
Yeah.
and just wailing on them with all this damage. I mean, they didn't
The
stand a
sticky
chance.
bomb is one of my favorite movement abilities in my in Overwatch, because of the people don't really expect you to use it as a movement ability until you do, and that's what people like Bonesaw do really well.
Mhm.
Um, it looks like Bonesaw is going to end up getting the kill onto the enemy Kiriko, just kind of laying into the side of KSU. Going to try to get out, but it's
Aw.
going to fall before he is able to. Fozik's getting two here, though. Just, again, being a
Oh.
nuisance. Going to die right before this enemy May gets into her ice block. Shocker going to get the return kill,
I think
and 3 people on
I think Miami's having a little bit of fun with it. We died a little bit there. I felt like Bonesaw and Fozix both didn't have to die. They probably could have played it better. But when you have 5 minutes on the clock and you've had such a dominant performance, right off the bat, and you just have to get to the second point and no further, I mean, I think it kind of gives you the wiggle room to be a bit silly with it, as I'd say.
Yeah, and Miami has 4 minutes and 33 seconds left on the clock to push. Not very far. Kitsune Rush
Not
is going to
at
be
all.
used by the enemy team. Cage Fight and Artillery Strike are up. Blizzard is also going to be used by Miami, but
Ooh.
Bonesaw is going to die very early in. Enemy Cage Fight is going to be used. Shocker using the Kitsune Rush as well as Sound Barrier by Fozix. Bonesaw is back up now, though. Uh,
Oh,
the
artillery
Cage Fight
strike
is
from
going
afar?
to be used, and the long-range Artillery Strike is going to be used by Bonesaw,
Oh,
just barely getting there before the cage fight runs out.
definitely a little close to the end right there. But as soon as Bonesaw respawned and I saw Pooter drop cage fight, I mean, you knew what was going to happen. And Bozix nearly gets that
Uh,
Ripper down out of his ultimate.
Death
But,
loss.
I mean, we're rounding the corner. We have a few meters left to go. This Reaper can only do so much.
There are these last second champions, right? Or heroes rather, like the Tracer, like the Lucio, that are just there to touch. But it looks like Miami is going to get the get the map too.
A
Very
lot of
quickly.
respect, but unfortunately, Miami had such a strong performance. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about how dominant we are on attack.
For sure, and this composition is also a very attack-focused composition. And here we see the everything happening in the side room.
Everything happening.
Just all of the ultimates, everything is being used, and Miami gets a team kill there.
A very
Uh,
deserved play of the game by
yes,
Bonesaw. I mean,
yeah,
he's so good at Bastion, and I know we keep talking about it, but the way he can position and deal so much damage, he plays so smart
yeah,
on
and
Bastion.
part of it is also the coordination of the team, right? Miami feel very coordinated
Yes.
with this composition, using their ultimates in tandem with each other to get the most value possible.
The cage fight and artillery strike combination, it's so infuriating but smart, and it seems so obvious once they do it. But it's like, how do you counter that?
You
You
don't?
really can't. I mean, you can have a mage, you can use an ice block, a Zenyatta Transcendence maybe, but does Zenyatta, does the rest of his kit, is it worth it just to
No,
stop that one ult
absolutely
combination?
not. I don't think the Moira is doing much.
I mean, to be fair, they did swap off Moira to Kiriko, and I'm guessing a
Oh, true.
well-timed um, cleanse, immunity might stop it,
You
but there's
can't,
but there's multiple artillery
right?
strikes.
It's challenging. And as our team coined it, it's cringy,
It's a
right?
cringe
Because you
comp.
can't do anything against it. The only thing you can do is try your best to out heal it, try your best
Mhm.
to out damage it, and kind of see where it goes.
I
But
think the big thing is also playing from a range. Most of our characters are also good at that close range fighting, as forcing you to the side rooms, getting up close and dealing a lot of damage. You know, if you can poke us out from a long range, you might stand a better chance, especially against Mount. I mean, Arissa, a Sigma that can pull back when necessary to do a shield, can mitigate damage. That's gonna be more impactful than a Reinhardt that's just gonna have to charge forward into the line of fire.
right, it might be a hero pool
Hmm.
issue. I'm not quite sure. Maybe we see a swap coming out in this next map, the third and maybe final map, as Miami gets to game point. And we will be right back once again. Don't go anywhere. Map number 3 is coming right up. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to map number 3 of Miami University versus Kent State. This is, once again, map number 3 of Overwatch ESC.
I think we're going to Saravasa, which is a Flashpoint map. We haven't seen a ton of Flashpoint, only because it did get released sometime in the fall, I believe, or in the late summer.
I believe it was all of Game 3s of,
Of all of the Game 3, but I don't think we saw it last spring.
not last spring, last
Yes,
fall we did, but yeah,
last
yeah.
fall, but we only had a few broadcasts for Overwatch last fall. So I think we have a really good idea of how well we're going to perform on this map. So it's going to be a little interesting to see how we play. I know we played on it last week, and we did win,
Mhm.
but
We were on Junkertown
we were in Junkertown.
last week.
But now, as we get into Saravasa, we're going to see how we perform on a brand new map, never before seen by an ESC stream.
I don't think that's true
I
whatsoever.
don't think it's true either.
I like Saravasa. It's a very pretty map.
Mhm.
Out of the 2 Flashpoint maps, I wish there were more. But out of the 2, I think it's the one I prefer more. I do like the arena map
Uh-huh.
of Junkertown, or the arena point of Junkertown, but otherwise, I'm a big fan
I'm
of
very
Saravasa.
curious as how we're switching up our composition right now. We've picked up a Junker Queen instead of the manga,
I think
but
we're for funning it.
KSU has responded with an Orisa. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. We've also lost our Bastion in favor of a Genji. Instead of Mei, we're working with a Sojourn. This is
I think
interesting.
I think we might just be for funning it, maybe trying something new just to see how it sticks, because maybe we aren't very worried about the
Maybe
map 3.
I do worry with flashpoints. You know, there are less long sight lines. I think it kind of forces you to work a bit tighter, which maybe it doesn't favor a Manga and
The
Bastion composition that we've
Hanzo
been used to.
is going to fall. This Orisa is maybe soon going to follow. It doesn't quite look like it. Looks like she is going to be healed up by this Ana. Just hard focusing. Eventually the Orisa does fall, and so does the Ana, so does the Sojourn, and eventually the Lucio as well.
I mean, Puda Scooter is being so bold right out the gate, but it's paying off. You know, we saw that Arissa was barely sustaining herself. The Ana's kind of keep her going, but Puda Scooter just went in there to shut that down, especially with the help of Bonesaw. You know, once they secured the point, Miami did a really good job of immediately pushing Kent State away and sort of delaying their team's respawns, allowing us to get to 50% within the first minute or two of gameplay.
Yeah, and it's really impressive to see Miami play these champions that, or these heroes rather, that we never really get to see in these matches, and still just own on them, right? Bonesaw getting 2, the Ana getting 3, Ana, Sojourn, and Hanzo here. Just the Orisa left. Yeah, just the Orisa and the Lucio. Lucio's gone, long gone. Orisa is going to fall.
Long gone. I mean, that is the double-edged sword of playing on a flashpoint map. Is that if you can win like 2 fights in a row, you have kind of secured yourself on that flashpoint. You know, it's really 2 fights. You know, if you lose one, if it's a little touch and go, you know, maybe you can stretch it out to 3. But Miami is just so good at not only shutting down a fight and shutting down a potential push, but kind of chasing after them and making sure they can't regroup and reset instantly.
Yeah, the commanding shout is going to be used just to kind of shield a little bit. Fozix getting a kill, Baby Backside getting a kill as well, but Bonesaw and Booter Scooter are both going to fall, unfortunately. And it looks like KSU is able to probably get this. Fozix delaying a little bit. Fozix and Shocker both delaying a little bit. Shocker making it so hard to hit him. Sunberry going to be used. Fozix 1v4ing here on the point, is still alive. Shocker almost killing this Orisa by himself. Genji is back on the point. Bonesaw is back on the point. Overclock going to be used by the enemy Sojourn, and it's going to end up finishing off Shocker, Bonesaw, and Fozix.
You know what? I think that just speaks to the pure skill and coordination of our team. Normally, when it's just down to the last 2 supports, there's not a lot you can do. You kind of have to accept the L. But Fozix and Shocker really put up a good fight, and they nearly brought it back. They nearly held out long enough for the rest of the team to catch up to them. It wasn't enough in the end, but it was still a very respectable effort. I'll give them that. And I think it just shows how well Fozix and Shocker can play off each other as supports.
Yeah, and Kiriko and Lucio play off each other just in general fairly well, as Overclock is going to be used by Miami to try to retake this point. Not quite getting much with it. Bonesaw and Baby Backside both getting kills. Bonesaw does end up getting return killed by this enemy Sojourn, unfortunately. Shocker up in the face of this Hanzo, going to end up getting the headshot kill. Miami going to retake the point at 73% with an ultimate, 2 ultimates up and ready to be used.
You know, Baby Backside got, I think, a kill or 2 with that Sojourn ultimate. But even though it didn't necessarily deal a lot of damage, it still forced KSU to reposition, because you don't want to be in Sojourn's sightline when she's ulting, right? So I think that was really key in letting Miami retake the point right there.
Kitsune Rush is going to be used by Miami to try to force KSU away from this point. Not really using it defensively very much, or offensively rather very much, but more in a defensive. We have Kitsune Rush, you cannot walk up.
When you're at this kind of both hovering around 70%, fights like this is what's going to determine who takes this round. You know, it's so close that really the winner of this fight, the enemy is not going to have enough time to reset and regroup and come back.
For sure. Ultimates are up for Miami if they wanted to try to do something with it. Booter Scooter is going to be ran very far back, but the Rampage is going to be used to get back to safety. Booter Scooter just in the face of this KSU backline. Going to end up getting a kill. Baby Backside also getting a kill onto this Lucio. Bonesaw does end up falling. This is a 4v3, 3v3, 3v2 situation by Miami.
You sound like an auctioneer.
2v3 situation for Miami. The side of KSU is just going to try to finish off this Lucio. 99%. Unfortunately, Miami
So
does end up losing it
frustrating.
in the last
So
second.
close to holding it on. But, I have to give props to that Sojourn. She really was putting in the work for her team, forcing us to reposition, dealing the right amount of damage, getting those picks. Now we're going to the last fight for this point with Bonesaw.
Dragon Blade is going to be used and nothing is going to be gotten out of it. Fozix is also going to die here. The Junker Queen, taken very low, is going to end up falling to this Kiriko. And Miami just kind of has to walk back, maybe take a reset here. Maybe swap the heroes they're playing?
I don't know. I mean, Miami, when you're up 2-0 right now, it's a best of 5. And you had a really good performance on the first flashpoint, and you nearly got the second.
Kitsune Rush is going to be used by Miami. Puder going to get the kill onto the Bastion as Miami just runs down this enemy team. 3 kills for Miami. This is just the Orisa, just the Lucio now as he runs for his life. Miami going to just go take the point.
Go take the point. A super clean performance in Miami. Maybe they got a little frustrated having just barely lost that point in that second point, so maybe taking this third round a bit more seriously.
Yeah, hopefully it looks like with the ultimates that we have up and the ultimates that KSU have up and ready, maybe it'll be a kind of skewed fight for KSU with the ability to use 2, maybe 3 ultimates very, very soon.
Definitely. I'm very curious to see how this Bonesaw is going to be able to play into this Bastion Sojourn, because right now it's been a little touch and go. There's really great moments where he's able to deflect all their damage right back at them. There's other times where he uses Dragon Blade, dashes into them, and then gets shut down immediately.
Unfortunate, this fight went from looking very, very good for Miami, getting an initial pick onto this Bastion, and then just everything kind of falling apart afterwards and just dying.
Well, once again, when you're kind of hovering around that 70% point, it's really down to one last good fight, right? If Miami can gather themselves, they can reset, regroup. I mean, they're going to be entering this fight with 4 ultimates up, really. It's kind of leaning in your favor. If you can win this next fight and you can clean the point, you can never 100% guarantee anything, but you're looking pretty good for holding it off, because by the time KSU is able to respawn, reset, regroup, they're going to be fighting an uphill battle.
Overclock is going to be used by Miami. 2 other ultimates are up and ready. 3 other ultimates are up and ready. Puder does end up dying fairly early. The enemy Bastion does also die, though, unfortunately for KSU. This doesn't look like a very even fight for Miami. The Sound Berry is going to be used. So is Dragon Blade. Neither are going to be super impactful as Fozix ends up dying anyways. Bonesaw and Shocker both are going to die as well. Baby Backside going to die. And hopefully with this reset, Miami decides
I was just going to say, I
and...
feel like we're now due for a change of team composition. I think it'd be 1-3. Miami, you don't want to be losing when, 2-1, or don't be winning this 3-1. You want to have a clean 3-0
right
to go on your ESC record. But now that you're getting a little goofy with it, you're losing fights you shouldn't on a flashpoint map where things go so quickly. I mean, now there's really is no room for error for Miami.
Yeah, and I don't really understand why we're being so stubborn with this. We still aren't swapping off, even though we didn't have ultimates. Or we don't have ultimates on this reset, so there's no harm in swapping at least the 2 DPS. You maybe lose Rampage, but Rampage isn't a super impactful ultimate. Like, it's impactful, but not like incredibly so. Going to chase down this Orisa, and she's going to die. And so is this May, and Miami's going to once again get this point very early. Hopefully we can hold it for a little bit longer this time.
A little bit longer, yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, this is kind of the point where you're getting a little nervous if you're Miami, where you don't really have that same kind of wiggle room for error, where you can't be, messing around and getting picked off in moments like that. We have the enemy mage taking down Baby Backside, which isn't a good look going into a fight where you really want to hold on.
Kitsune Rush is going to be used by both teams here. The Orisa ultimate is also up. The May is going to be doing a lot here, but the Rampage is going to be used immediately. The anti-heal is cleansed for Miami. or
Oof.
for KSU, and Miami's going to lose 4, and it's
Again,
just the
we're
DPS, or lose 3, and it's just the DPS up.
we're hovering around that 70% mark. It's just if Miami can really do one strong push and get on this point, I'm confident that we can hold it enough to 99%. But if we're gonna continually get picked off and then these silly moments where we're not fully utilizing our ults, or we're falling to their ults in moments where we shouldn't, I mean, now we're gonna have to be going to a game 4, which we really don't want to do.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks. I really don't understand why we aren't swapping. There was a swap from Kiriko into a Baptiste for Miami, but I don't think that's
I
the
don't
swap you
know
want.
if that's the sustainability we're looking for. I know Baptiste can do a little bit more damage than a Kiriko, but again, the immortality field, how does that compare to a cleansing Suzu?
Dragon Blade is going to be used for Miami, but he's going. Bonesaw is going to get frozen by the Blizzard immediately. Overclock is also going to be used for Miami, but nothing is going to be gotten out of it. Overclock is going to be used for the enemy team. Just gets a kill, but 3 fall, or 2 fall, 2 in a lamp.
You
Fall
see that
for
Bonesaw is finally
Miami.
swapping over to Soldier 76, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. I mean, you've been forcing this Genji into a Mei, which, that's a losing matchup for Genji.
It's really unfortunate that we do lose a map. It's not going to be a clean 3-0.
I'm wondering if maybe Miami is getting a little arrogant at having such a dominant performance in the first 2 games. But it looks like Bonesaw still got play of the game.
I really don't understand our thought process after losing like the 2 point. Like we won the first point, great, it worked out. Then point number 2, we lost, and then point number
Mhm.
3, we lost again. We lost every fight, and we just kind of kept losing, and there was no
Yeah,
swap, no change
we saw
in
a swap at the very end to a Soldier 76, but I mean that's in the last 5 seconds of the
right.
game. Maybe Flashpoint just is not the map style for us. Maybe that's just the case. Maybe going into game 4, we'll have a bit better luck, a bit
Mhm.
more favors our cringe composition, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Um, I think we probably could have just played the manga cop,
You think
and
so?
it would have been fine.
I mean, I feel like I would rather force that we're a composition we're doing really well on for the first 2 games, rather than try and shake things up for the third game. Have it work once and then not work again, then
Mhm.
not work again, and then not work again.
Right. I think after like the second or third failure fight,
Yeah, a second or third shutdown.
right.
Or being a little bit more adaptable to what Kent State is shaking up. When Kent State, was playing that May, I think Bonesaw is a really brilliant player. I think he's very skilled and he's very smart. But it's super hard to play a Genji into a Mei. Mei is a great counter, can slow him down, doesn't have to worry about his deflect. And we saw that shut down multiple times. He tried to use Dragon Blade, frozen.
Mhm.
Then there we go. We've wasted an ultimate, and we've wasted a key player like Bonesaw.
Right. And I think that just kept happening, and it wasn't the best for Miami. I'm not sure if maybe it was like a mental thing where like, oh, we get it this time. We get it this time
Yeah.
for sure.
One more try. We'll get it this time, I
Um,
promise.
we'll have to see as we maybe get into game 3 fairly soon, hopefully. Um, as
Game
we
4.
game 4 rather, as we go to Esperanza. Um, I I really hope we go back
I'm
to
hope
the
Yeah.
cringe comp.
I'm hoping the push composition is going to favor us a bit more, only because Miami seems to be very strong right out of the gate. I mean, on those flash points, we were taking all those points first, and then we were losing it later on. And push is a map style that can favor that really strong performance at the beginning, and if you can kind of keep that going, or at least sustain it a little bit, I mean, you have a good chance because then you have to rely on the enemy team to push all the way back, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I think we with the cringe comp, maybe they think it's a little too slow. Like you were saying, we
Hmm.
we need to win fights early. On Flashpoint, maybe they think the manga composition is a little too slow because it relied a little bit too much on the ultimates, on the
Hmm.
artillery strike and the cage fight. Um, I think it's just fine. I think they do a lot of damage. I think they were winning. Maybe they were hesitant to swap into the Orisa,
Yeah,
but I
I know. I guess we're really gonna see what they're gonna pull out on this push map. What they're gonna bring. Are they gonna try and rely on that manga that Bastion combination, where you kind of have to invest a bit more into it. You know, it's
Hmm.
not guns blazing. I mean, I guess Manga always has guns blazing,
Always.
but you know, you don't have a strong performance start off, and you're relying more on teams, you know, coordination and your skill rather than your hero's kits,
Hmm.
and then hoping that can sustain you to keep that push, keep that robot where you want it to. Getting
As
into
we
Esperanza.
get onto Ishma, it's a push. I forgot that Esperanza was a push map. The first push that we've seen this semester, um, Miami trying another different composition. Maybe they see the Orisa, they want to play something that's a little bit better into.
I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. This Ramantra, because we have also we've taken up a sojourn to go instead of Bastion to pair with our May, and again we've kind of fully disregarded that Kiriko to pick up Baptiste. It's a change up for sure, and I'm wondering if we don't want to do that investment, like I said, an investment into a manga Bastion composition.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Sojourn with the Baptiste, I think those pair very well together. Um, I don't really think I can't remember the tank's name.
Ramantra?
Ramatra. I don't think Ramatra pairs super well with the Bastion, but maybe he does. Or not Bastion. Baptiste. Baptiste is able to keep him up, and with the lamp is able to keep him alive even when he's low. Bonesaw is going to fall very early into this fight, and
Not a
Miami
great
is going
sign
to
for
start
us. Not a,
base
not a
immediately.
great sign, because I was talking about earlier. Clutch is one of those map styles where you really have to have a strong showing to begin with. You know, if you lose the first fight, it's not completely over for you, but you are going to be fighting an uphill battle. It's going to be a lot harder for you to come back rather than being on the winning team right out of the gates where you have to sustain, not overcome.
Right, and Bonesaw is going to die very early into a fight. Once again, the amplification matrix is going to be used, not going to get much use out of it though. Future Scooter is going to get the kill onto the Sojourn. This Orisa is in a very weird spot, but Miami is not able to capitalize on it. She ults and kills Future Scooter actually. Sojourn is in
Ooh,
a very bad spot, going to end up being killed by this Hanzo. Shocker does get the return kill onto this Ana though, but
that was close, and you know what? Those weren't great fights for Miami. Gotta give them credit for losing 2 fights in a row. KSU was not allowed to make that much progress. We see Miami's actually going in their back line and trying to push them back, especially Fozix trying to give his team an opportunity to catch up with the robot.
yeah, with 2 kills, Miami is able to even this out a little bit here in this early stage of the game. Ultimates are up for the side of Miami, but as they are also up for KSU.
So Miami has, I think, officially matched KSU's distance. They are now considered in the lead. And KSU is pushing off in that little side room.
Overclock is going to be used by Sojourn Babyback, going to be doing some damage to Zarissa, but not enough to kill her, unfortunately. Full charge, one more railgun shot, but not going to be able to get much out of it. Miami going to be pushed back from this high ground.
I was going to say, you know, KSU is pushing in these tight side rooms, which in any other composition of ours might have gone over really well for us, but
The
it looks like
nano
it's punishing.
overclock is going to be used by KSU, not going to get much out of it either, though, as the ultimate is used by Ramatra, Pooter Scooter.
And that was a really smart sound barrier by Fozix, and it negated a lot of the damage the Sojourn possibly could have been out, especially being nano, especially when sound barriered herself.
Kind of an awkward amplification matrix, as KSU is able to just rotate around and not really have to worry about it. But the Orisa does have to fall back and stop Miami from just harassing this Ana, which does leave their DPS vulnerable. Cooter Scooter does end up falling though, as the Mei does a lot of damage, does end up killing the Hanzo with the help of Shocker on Baptiste, but Baptiste does end up falling
Such an
as
interesting
well.
game so far. I mean, there's so many moments where you think Miami has the upper hand, and KSU is going to have to fall back much further, and then they bring it back, and then, you know, we flip sides, and KSU is not pushing into us, and I'm wondering what we're going to respond with, you know. We started off a little slow, made that comeback, but now KSU is going to be pushing in front of us. We're able to come up behind them. I'm wondering how we're able to utilize the ultimates we have up, or we're going to have up soon. Particularly looking at Bonesaw's Blizzard on May.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Miami wants to play this. About 50% on all of their ultimates except for the Blizzard having a 90%. But KSU is going to use the Orisa ultimate along with the Dragons. Shocker does end up falling. It was a really good lamp, but unfortunately, Miami is just losing this fight here.
It's super unfortunate to see Miami get shut down like that. No Fozix is on that Lucio, and Lucio's such a mobile and slippery character. He's kind of, doing work in the back lines, trying to. He was able to push the robot. Actually, I don't think you noticed during that fight. He brought the robot back around while everyone was fighting that one corner, which is really brilliant on Fozix's part. He's a very smart player for doing that. Because now KSU is still pushing, and they're about to get the first checkpoint. But it's not as bad as it could have been.
Blizzard is going to be used by Bonesaw, going to get this Orisa, who is really out of position, going to end up killing her fairly easily with all of KSU having to back off from them. Babyvac is going to die, but 3 of KSU are also going to die, and Miami is able to continue pushing this even without Babyvac on that soldier.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the credit is going to go to the supports right now. I mean, the rest of the team is putting in work. But looking at Shocker, especially Fozix, I mean, he is jumping around. He is making these moves. He's forcing KSU to look at their backline. He's pushing the robot when no one else is looking. And then he's instantly back with the team when he needs to be. I think we owe a lot of these smart plays.
Is going to be used on both teams. The sound barrier is going to be used on Shocker, or on Fozix. Shocker's damage amplification matrix is going to also be used. Pooter Scooter just bullying this Ana, and that is just a team. Maybe team wipe? Not team wipe because Orisa's still alive.
I think that technically counted. I think there was a very slight overlap right there. But I think that was the comeback Miami needed. I know, like many teams, when we started losing, we previously had such dominant performance, we can kind of get in our own heads, our mental can kind of take a dip. But I think having such a strong showing like that in that fight, and now taking the lead, that's what Miami needs to keep going. And going to the next fight, we do see Pooter Scooter has Ramacho's ultimate up, which is a bit of a comfort to know you have something to fall back on like that. Ultimate that can really, make a lot of room, some distance between you and the enemy team if necessary.
Right, Annihilation as the Dragon Strike is going to be used. Not going to get anyone, and Miami is able to just kind of defend and wait out these fights. Annihilation is going to be used, but so is the Javelin Spin from this Orisa. No one's going to die to either of those abilities. Orisa is just taking so much taking damage from Annihilation. The Lucio does end up dying. Fozix gets a kill. Bonesaw does fall to the Hanzo, but Pooter Scooter gets the return kill. Babyvac side gets the kill onto the Ana that I think just got back.
I think that was really great use of Annihilation by Pooter Scooter right there. He saw that KSU was pushing in, and he had to make room for his team. He had to put some distance between his front line and KSU's front line. Annihilation was a great way to do it. Even going into Orisa's ultimate, though, the way he can negate damage and the fact that Bonesaw had his ice block up kind of meant Orisa's ultimate, it wasn't for nothing, but it didn't give her the damage she wanted. It really just made distance for her.
A nice kill, return kill onto the Hanzo after he killed Bonesaw. Going to get the overclock kill onto the Lucio, and Orisa's also going to die. The Ana falls to Fozix, but the Sojourn does end up dying to the enemy Sojourn. Unfortunately, Pooter Scooter does get the kill onto the Sojourn. Miami's going to push very, very far with this, though.
A really great ultimate by Babyvac side. I think Miami has found their groove right now. I don't want to jinx standing too soon, but that was a really beautiful by Babyvac side. I mean, the amount of picks he got, pushing coordination with the team, and going into the next fight, so we're going to have both Shocker, and probably Fozix up. As long as Bonesaw's can stay up, we took a lot of damage right there. Using his ice wall to kind of slow down KSU's push into Miami's front line.
Yeah, the damage matrix or amplification matrix is going to be used by Miami, but in again a really awkward spot. I'm not really loving where these are being placed. Pooter Scooter does get the kill, and so does Babyvac side. Going to get 2. Babyvac side gets a second one, and Miami is going to continue pushing. Bonesaw feeling a little bit frustrated with the lack of ability of being able to.
Too many times. We see he's holding on to that Blizzard ultimate. I know he's eager to use it, But when you're at this final stretch, you're down to the final few meters, you really have to be careful when you use a ultimate
Overclock
blizzard.
is going to be used for the side of KSU as a last-ditch effort, going to get one kill onto Baby Backside, and with that, Miami kind of has to play a little bit farther back. Lucio going to try his best, Fozix to
Aw.
try his best to delay the inevitable, get a few seconds off the clock, but he does end up falling.
Super sad. Miami's about to lose their forward spawn. I know Fozix is such a fan of kind of hanging in the back line, waiting for someone
Baby
to not
Backside.
notice where the robot is being positioned, or, you know, hanging out by harassing their honor.
Annihilation is going to be used to just make sure this Hanzo does not get to play. Baby Backside getting the kill onto the enemy Sojourn. In with that, the Orisa ate the Blizzard with the Javelin spin. Bonesaw does end up getting the kill onto him, though. Pooter Scooter getting the kill onto the Lucio, and it looks like
Miami's not even going to try and push it, because all it's going to do is bring it closer to KSU spawn. I think Miami is just going to sit back and allow themselves to take that win, ending this series 3-1 favor Miami.
yeah, a very good play there as we look at the
well, you know what? It's the last game of the night. We have to give it to KSU. They can have this play of the game.
a very nice play here, as they deserve to play the game. That was a good play. But a very solid showing. Kind of unfortunate that we did I'm gonna call it a little bit of an int on that Flashpoint map. But we do bring it back with a very solid push.
Yeah, I wasn't super pleased with our performance on Suravasa, and that robot push was a little touch and go at moments, but overall, I think we had a really clean showing tonight. We did a really good performance. I'm proud of us. 3-1, and now 3-0 in the ESC conference.
Yeah, a very good showing tonight. But we aren't quite over just yet. We are going to get an interview with Bonesaw, the DPS player. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for that exclusive Bonesaw interview. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Once again, my name is Caden Citro, also known as Onion underscore JPEG. Jeez. And I am joined by Bonesaw here, our
Yep.
DPS player for Miami's Overwatch team. So just a few questions about some about this game, some about the season overall so far, and one about the future of the season. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about map 3. The
Yeah,
one map that we've lost, I think, this entire
yeah,
season
it's
so
the one
far.
map we've lost so far in ESC. And to be honest, I don't even think we played all that bad. There's a lot to be talked about our composition choice. I think we maybe should have switched off the Jungle Queen against the Orisa May, or just really the Orisa was the big problem. But a shout out has to go to their Orisa player and their Sojourn player. They just kind of decided to win that map.
Mhm.
So I got to give props to them. They just became god tier players, and there's not much else I can say about that
Okay.
map. They just went ridiculous. Like, I tried to int their Sojourn with Shoutblade, and I just got deleted. And that was kind of the beginning of where everything went
Yeah,
sideways.
there were a lot of ultimates that were used, and then nothing really came out of them,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
that was the big thing that they did on that map that caused them to win, was that they for some reason just canceled and killed us out of basically every ultimate combo that we went for. So it was either not the full ultimate combo or just the ultimate outright got dealt with. So they just screwed up our ult economy and we weren't able to recover fast enough, which
Mhm.
happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Uh, Otherwise, a beautiful series.
Oh, yes, I would totally say so, especially maps 1 and 2 on this stupendous composition
Yes.
that we get to play, which I've been so excited to talk about. The Maga Bastion composition is one of the most brain dead things that we have ever come up with. It comes from mostly the mind of Shocker. He stole it from Boise State, technically speaking, but in my opinion, it's our comp because I like to take things.
Mhm.
Uh, but no, the bread and butter of the composition is Maga's E ability, which gives his teammates lifesteal. And so basically, the idea of the comp is that you bum rush their tank, put the pressure on, and then when they try and counter your rush, you just hit Maga E and then you just shoot the tank so that you don't die.
Mhm.
Because there's very few things that can kill Bastion and Maga if they're doing full damage in Maga E, because they basically just have infinite lifesteal. And then you have a really simple ult cycle. You just do Maga Bastion ult combo, which is cage, and then you drop the airstrike in the cage. Next fight you want a mail, and then you have Lucy ult defensive and Kiri ult you could just kind of throw out whenever you want.
Mhm.
And so it's a very simple comp overall in terms of like the main stuff. There is some complex macro stuff that you need to know in terms of positioning and what you want to do. It's a very active composition because you don't have like a shield or a defensive ability really. You have to be very smart about where you're positioning. But the reason I find the comp so fun is because it's what Shocker has called an IQ check composition. Basically, it's so silly and a little bit weird so that you have to really think about what to do to deal with it. And so far, we really haven't had anyone figure out what to do about it. We did
Right.
technically lose one against one team in a different event. We lost to I think it was Texas. And they pulled out some silly stuff, but there was also many other reasons why we lost that. Definitely individual performance mistakes there. But I really like this composition because it's simple. It causes other teams to have to think. And I absolutely love being a villain in collegiate, and this
Mhm.
just lets me do that more.
I will say one of the producers made a comment the last match, that I really enjoyed. It's a good comp for fans of circles.
Oh, 100%. There, everything, like, even when I'm playing that comp, sometimes the only thing I can see are circles. Like,
Yeah.
there's one clip that I think was on our Twitter where you really just it goes from my perspective, and all of that is on my screen are shapes and colors. And the nice thing is that I don't have to worry too much about that. If I can just shoot anything that's the color red, I'm gonna
Mhm.
be doing my job. But it is definitely one of those compositions that is very, very, very high effects.
Yeah, it's fun to watch though, especially last week. I think it was like a 4K with the
Yes.
artillery strike
Well,
into
so
cage match.
one of the nice parts about the Maga Bastion combo is that it doesn't actually, it's a very low risk, high reward combo because Pooter just has to get in on their Maga, get at least two people in the cage.
Mhm.
And then if he dies, that's fine because they're still going to be stuck in the cage. And then I can, even if they try and counter it with things like a Zenyatta Transcendence or a Lucio beat, I can drop the first shot of the Bastion ult, force that support ultimate, and then wait till the end of my ultimate and drop the last two. And by that point, the support ultimate is basically run out. So it is almost always a guaranteed at least one or two kills, unless me or Pooter makes a catastrophic mistake, which we really haven't made too many of those so far, because you have to really screw up that ult combo to not get at least one elimination.
Right. And I'm excited to see how it continues to unfold.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to see if any of these very strong opponents that we're kind of fearing, at least me and Darcy talk about kind of fearing going up against, see
Yeah.
if they can match that IQ check or not.
Of course, our big rival, Ball State.
Ball
Yep.
State is
And
the big
I'm going to
one.
go out on the record. I am calling out Ravenstrider on behalf of my roommate, Shocker OW. He's coming for you. I'm like white knighting a little bit, but Shocker's somewhere in that direction.
Mhm.
He is coming for you, Ravenstrider. Fear him.
Fear him.
Yes.
Uh,
I stick up for my roommate.
Thinking about this future matchup and this rivalry that you guys have with Ball State, you guys did very well against them last season, and then I think we lost in
We
the
lost to them
finals.
in finals, yeah.
How are you feeling going into playing them in the normal season and maybe in the
I mean,
future?
I'm
postseason?
always excited to play Ball State. The rivalry has just gotten more fun as the time has gone by because it's a very enjoyable rivalry because it's like I'm actually like both teams are pretty good friends with each other. We don't actually have like any bad blood, so it's not like that kind of rivalry.
Right.
And they're also we're in constant contact with them, so we're constantly like working to try and one up the new strategy. So my guess is that they have something in the works to try and deal with what we're coming up with right now.
Mhm.
So it's always an exciting matchup. So very excited for that. Also, there's plans around our match against them that I'm not gonna elaborate on now that I think about it because I don't actually know if they're set in stone. But cool things might happen.
Mhm.
That's a Bonesaw guarantee, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Not
it's
quite
not
a
a guarantee, but
A bone saw.
yeah, a Bonesaw
maybe.
guarantee is amazing. Always.
It'll be a very interesting match to see
Yeah.
and watch. It's always fun to commentate over those, especially last season. It was a very fun matchup.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully it'll be even more fun going into this season. We did already face one of the other big rivalry teams that we
Yes.
had.
Northeastern. Northeastern's another one of the scary ones. That's who we went against in semifinals of last ESC, if I remember correctly. And that was a very close match. It was technically map 8 because there was some weird stuff around incorrect map picks and stuff, but it was
Right.
down to the wire. And one of probably the match in total probably lasted like 3 hours. It is
a
one of
long
my
one.
favorite memories from last year. I still have Twitch clips from it. But I'm very happy to have beaten like I don't want to be toxic, but I'm very happy to have beaten them in such a dominant fashion because that gives
Right.
me a lot of confidence going into the rest of this season of ESC, being that was our like big upset or not quite an upset because we were kind of evenly matched, but our big like triumphant win from last year, and having that be as easy as it was gives me excitement and confidence for the rest of this season.
And it was also the not to like rag on you guys, it was the only match that you guys had lost during the normal season, I
Yes,
believe.
it was.
So beating them in the normal season this time, this go around, is very I want to say inspiring. I'm not sure if that's quite the right word, but
I'd say that's close enough.
It's close enough.
It gives the idea.
It's a good vibe going into the rest of this season.
Yeah, because it's also we just have to keep up our motivation that we've been doing and keep that strong. Because like we've made major improvements on the Manga Comp since last week's match, or yeah, it was last week.
Yeah.
So like we're constantly working to make that composition better, and I think it has been working. We just have to keep at that for the rest of the season. And I think we 100% can take home the title.
Awesome. Well, I am excited to see where
That's
you guys
a Bonesaw
go.
guarantee.
That's a Bonesaw guarantee.
That one is.
I'm very excited to see where the rest of this season takes us. And I'm excited to see you guys continue to improve and maybe work up some more cringe comps.
Oh yeah, there's a the last thing I will say. Season 9 of Overwatch Ranked is probably gonna throw a huge wrench into this composition. I am looking for every possible way to still play Bastion. I am desperate to keep playing this character.
Well, you are a very talented Bastion
It's what
player.
I know.
But with that, that will be all from us tonight. We'll be looking to probably continue this win streak that we have in ESC.
Yep.
Not probably, we are looking to continue this win streak as we continue on. So thank you all for watching. That is, once again, Miami University 3-1 versus Kent State. My name is Caden Citro.
I am Bonesaw. Charlie Videtti.
Thank you all. Thank you all for watching. Take care. Thank you.
I'll set my first and last name as Bone.